Hi guys, welcome back to the Homestead kitchen. We're going to start our last meal of the easy pantry meals in just a moment. How's your Saturday going? I hope it's going well. Hanging out. Look, I got my apron on. We're going to do some baking to start. My friend Karen gave me this apron for just these situations, so we're going to work her in a bit. It's already a little dirty. That's good though, that's good. So we're going to make some herb buns and some really easy, like the super easiest chili you've ever made in your life. Of course, you can switch up the ingredients to make it more homemade and more wholesome. But I wanted to show you guys that right from the pantry, cheap as can be, you can whip up a quick chili to serve your family. And you can double it up so it lasts a couple nights. We often like to have chili one night and then chili and fries the next night, or baked potatoes even. So this is the super easiest recipe, but we're going to make the herb buns first. And I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to make bread at home. So we're going to start with the buns. And for beginners, you should be having some quick rise yeast in your pantry. For people who are experienced, you probably are using a sourdough. I'm still learning that, so if there's anyone experienced in sourdough, I've messed up a couple times, so I could use some tips. Other than that, the other one you would like to have in your pantry is the dry active yeast. But for beginners, this one right here, this is great for quick breads. This is great to make some pizza dough real quick. So I suggest and recommend that you guys always have some yeast in your pantry. And this is going to help us make some quick and delicious buns, herb buns to go with our chili. But because the chili is so super easy, we're going to start with the buns. So hi guys, welcome to the kitchen. Got my apron on for once. So we're going to make some whole wheat herb buns. We're going to start with just a couple simple ingredients. I think I have everything already except the herbs over here. So for this one, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt. You know, it seems like a lot, but most bread is a little salty. So 2 teaspoons should do to start. And then we're going to put in about a tablespoon of olive oil. Any oil will do, but we're going to use olive oil. And this is pretty much the same recipe for a loaf of bread, so you don't have to make it into buns. You can make this right into a loaf. You can add in some other stuff as well. Nice onion bread is great. Roasted garlic. We're going to put some garlic, dried garlic in here. We're not going to do roasted this time. So I'm going to have my pan heating over there because our first ingredient is going to be onions, which of course I pre-cut. So we have our salt and our olive oil. And really the next ingredient is flour. So I got a brand new bag here to open. Used up the other stuff. Some whole wheat all-purpose, or whole wheat I should say, flour here. And get her open. So I have a measuring cup here somewhere. So I'm going to start with about 1.5 cups, and I'm probably going to end up adding another 1.5 cups to 2 cups after. We'll start with a 1.5 cups. And this is going to be strictly whole wheat buns. I'm not adding in any all-purpose. I also have some 12 grain, but I'm going to save those for a later date because I don't want the bits in my bun when I'm dipping in my chili. So we'll start with that. And then we take our instant yeast. And I dirtied up my spoon, my measuring spoon. So I have one here somewhere. So we want to put in about a full tablespoon, or 3 teaspoons. 15 milliliters, millimeters, you know what I mean, milliliters. All right, then we need some warm water. So your water needs to be, I think about 120 degrees, 50 degrees. Here, it actually says on here somewhere. It's really small. Let's see, so you want your water that you're adding to be between 120 and 130 Fahrenheit, or between 50 and 55 Celsius. So I've already got my measuring cup here. My water might be a little hot. We'll test it. So this is tea water. So I'm going to need about almost 2 cups, but between 1.5 cups and 2 cups. So I'll tell you that's really hot. So I have some nice spring water here. These are well water. It's not good. Let's see. About 1 3/4 cups here. See, I'll probably end up adding about 2 more cups of flour. Before I dump that in, I'm going to get some herbs. I'm going to put the herbs in now, otherwise I might forget some of them. So we're going to get some parsley, some garlic powder, what else we got? Basil. We'll put a little bit of thyme in there. A little bit of thyme and a little bit of onion powder. Sounds like a really good blend. What do you guys think? How's it going out there? We're making some herb buns, and I have flour, oil, salt, and the yeast in here. And before I add in my warm water, I'm going to put in a little bit of these herbs. So a little bit of onion powder, about 1/2 teaspoon. Now, I don't put garlic in my chili, but I am going to put it in here. So I'm going to put in like 2 teaspoons. Yeah. Parsley, love parsley. Tastes good, really good for your digestive system, and it adds nice color to your stuff. So I'm going to add probably a full tablespoon, maybe get a nice flavor of it. And just a pinch of thyme, just a hint in there. Just a little 1/4 teaspoon. And put in a little basil. Put in about 1/2 teaspoon. All right. So I'm just going to quickly mix that up into the flour. Now I'm going to add in my 1 3/4 cups of warm water. Mix that up. Put those aside. So get this all mixed nicely. So that's pretty much this and some more flour. This is your base. Without the herbs, it's just be a nice white loaf or like just a plain loaf of bread. I like to start getting mine nice and liquidy. That way everything gets mixed up really well in there. If you have a bread maker, awesome. Hope you're using it. Homemade bread is the best. And these buns will be real nice. And look, they already have lots of nice color in there. So right away, I'm going to add in another cup of flour. Just can't put my hands in there. It's too goopy. It's whole wheat. And before I start kneading it, I want to make sure it's a nice dough consistency. Otherwise, it's just going to stick to my hands. So, because we use the instant yeast, we only need to let these rise for about 10 minutes. And then we'll shape them, and then they're only going to need maybe 10 to 20 after that before we bake them in a nice hot oven, 375 to 425. You put it, the higher you put it, the nice dark crust you're going to get. But we don't like ours too crusty because we're dipping them into something. So I'll probably do mine about 375. Okay, so I'm going to add a little flour onto my counter, and we'll get kneading. And baking is great exercise. It gives you a reason to let somebody else take over because your hands are dirty, so you have no choice but to stay here and keep working. You know what I'm saying out there, little ones? Tell Daddy you're busy baking and you just can't help right now. Put that aside because I'm going to need that again. I'm just going to put this through. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if I can get my camera back anymore. Maybe. Alright, I'm just going to gently fold this a few times here. It's still pretty sticky, so I want to work in some of this flour. So, and when our chili is starting, this is going to be on its first rise. And like I said, it's instant yeast, so it's not going to take that long. If you're using a dry active yeast, it's going to take a lot longer. It could take up to a couple hours, depending on what you're making. Again, if you're making sourdough, you guys know it's a really long process. It could take up to a couple days to make a nice loaf of bread. I'm still working on my sourdough skills. So far, we failed. That's okay. That's what my goal is for the winter, is to learn about beekeeping and to master making a sourdough loaf of bread. So I'll keep you guys posted. So now I got enough, I can start kneading it. This is where you want to put your mussel in here, guys. So what I'm going to need... Hi there. Sorry we lost the connection. I forgot to switch on my data. The Wi-Fi is unpredictable. So hopefully we're good now. I was just saying we're just going to need this for a few minutes. We want to make sure that it's all mixed in nice. And we're going to be getting the gluten activated in there so they rise. Okay, so yeah, I'm probably going to add another half a cup of flour as I go here. I'll take it out with my hand. Now I'm just going to put a little bit, and I can scoop some over if I need it. That way I don't, I can't take it away once it's here, but I can continue adding. So get some mussel in this. You guys see Mr. Cat sitting here? Just hanging out. Yeah, what's up, Mr. Cat? This is my cooking partner. He's a good boy. He likes it here because it's nice and warm by the stove. Alright, so I can feel it's already starting to get a little elasticy. I'm going to take a little bit more flour. Oh, he didn't want to be on camera. He left. He's busted. Alright, so this is already feeling nice. The goal is to get it feeling... You put our finger in, it's going to come back in, come back out, but not all the way. It's almost there. A little bit more so it doesn't stick. You can see it's not too much on my hands. It's pretty good. So all in all, this process to actually get your dough ready is really only about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you just need your rising and shaping time. All in all, it's not a whole lot to make some bread or buns right up easy at home. Biscuits are really easy to make as well. We often have biscuits, but you need some kind of fat for that. So a margarine, a butter, a lard. But you don't always have that in your pantry. But these ingredients you should have, especially with winter. We should be stocked up on our flours. So we're just making some buns here. That's about good. It goes in, comes back, but not quite all the way. I'm just going to reuse our bowl here. What we're going to do is we're just going to let it sit for about 10 minutes by the wood stove. Let it get warm. Let it rise up a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll shape our buns. So I'm just going to head over there for 2 seconds here. Alright, just put that on the stool right next to the stove. Hi guys, how's your Saturday going? Thanks for giving me your time, hanging out. Making a mess, so I got my apron on. I'm going to start the chili in just a moment. Let me get some of my space cleaned up here. Let me just quickly wash my hands. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Oh, like my socks? You can see what's behind me. I've been making cookies. We got all kinds of stuff going on the counter. I just love making cookies, and I'm sending out packages soon, so I want to get stuff done. So let's get these herbs away, and then we will start with our chili. Put them away properly after. All right. Perfect. Okay, so for our chili, the first ingredient, really simple, is I chopped up one giant, it was a giant ass onion, so too small would work as well. Here, we're going to leave this on. So I'm just going to throw these in the pan with my olive oil. In a sec here, you guys can join me for 2 seconds. So I got a nice big pot here. We're just going to make one small batch, but you can double this up. I just didn't pay attention to the ingredients that I had in my cupboard. I didn't cook exactly what I needed. So we're just going to put those in for a few minutes to fry up. Not a big deal. And then your next ingredients are, now, if you have canned homemade tomatoes, use your own. But I decided not to use mine because all of mine have garlic in them, and I don't like putting garlic in my chili. So we're going to use the store-bought stuff today. And like I said, I didn't check my pantry, so I didn't make my own kidney beans. So we're stuck using what I had, which is Romano beans, but I recommend kidney beans for this recipe. Again, if you don't have them in a can, you have dry ones. Cook them in advance, which I should have, but I didn't. These ones are actually from our garden. We grew these kidney beans. It's a lot of plants right there. So I made cookies. We made chocolate peanut butter, and I made a whole thing of Christmas cookies, Christmas fruit and nut and spice cookies. They're so good. So like I was saying, our next ingredient is 1 can of diced tomatoes. You can use, I'm having the Italian herb blend, but you don't have to. You can have just plain. 1 can of tomato beans, and then 1 can of kidney or your beans of choice. We're using Romano. You're nice and big. I washed and rinsed them already. So once our onions are soft, we're adding these 3 ingredients and our spices, and we're going to let it simmer, and that is your pot of chili. It just needs cook time. If you have a wood stove or a cook stove, I recommend doing it on there. It's really nice if you can cook it for a couple days. We're making a quick one, so we're going to cook it for 2 to 3 hours. I'm hoping by 6:30ish we'll be eating. It's about almost 3:30 right now. So those onions are smelling good already. Here, we'll come over here. Utensil. My dough is already rising. Now these are going to cook in the chili. I just like to give them a quick brown. And this is when I like to add my spices, because then they kind of burn just a little bit to the pan. So when I add in the liquid, they just instantly absorb. So for this one, we're going to use chili again. We kind of had a theme this week, I realize now. A little bit of paprika, a little bit of cumin. Like I said, I do not put garlic in mine. I'll just load up everything right in front of you guys. So this one here, I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons, but I'll probably end up adding a little bit more. Chili is not really spicy, it just is chili. It adds a nice flavor. So 3 of those, 3 tablespoons. Again, you can start with 1 and slowly add to it if you're not sure about spices or if you're sensitive. Cumin, we're actually only going to add in about a 1/2 teaspoon. Just a half. That in. Ooh, it smells good already, guys. And paprika, I'm going to put in about a full teaspoon. There we go. So and I also like to put in a little oregano and basil in this as well. These are both from the garden. It's really nice with the onions. So probably about a 1/2 teaspoon of each. I might end up adding a little bit more of the oregano. So I'm going to mix this up. You can just see the flavor. If you can't smell it, you can see it. Here, I'm going to actually bring you guys all the way over here. You can see all that flavor in that pot there. I don't know if you can, but hopefully you can see it, because it's absolutely awesome. So we're going to add in our our main ingredients. We're going to start with our canned tomatoes. Liquid in there. And give that a minute to just steam off and absorb all those flavors. Now you can adjust these. You can add more beans, more tomatoes, whatever you like. If you don't like beans and you still want to make like a chili, you could try using chopped up roasted sweet potatoes. You could try a different kind of bean that you like. You could even put in green beans. You could put in some corn in there. It's just more of the flavor than the particular ingredients. This one obviously is bean chili from the pantry, super easy, just a couple dollars to feed your family, and you're getting everything you need. Lots of protein. I'm going to put in the Romano beans. Lots of protein, healthy fats, lots of vitamins, and you're getting all kinds of really great minerals and all kinds of goodness from the spices themselves. So this meal is super healthy. If you can make your own canned baked beans, that would be great. That's something I just haven't mastered yet. I've made a few batches, but they just don't seem to turn out, I don't know, something's off, you know? I think I got the wrong beans too. Sometimes the beans were a little hard. We'll keep working on that. That's how you master your skills, by just keep practicing. So, and that's it. Mix it all up. I'm going to taste it before it's too hot. Oh, I didn't put the salt and pepper in there, guys. And I also have a secret ingredient, which I'm going to share with you. This is actually something I learned off of a cooking competition. So we're going to put in a teaspoon of cocoa powder after we put our salt and pepper in. Now I'm just shaking it probably about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'll probably end up adding more. Just a little less pepper. I don't want it peppery. I want it, you know, chili flavored. So let's get in a teaspoon of this secret ingredient. Now what this does is not only does it help it thicken and give it a nice dark texture, but it actually enhances the chilies, not the spice, but the chili flavor. So a teaspoon if you got it of cocoa, really awesome ingredient, secret ingredient in this chili. Like I said, I learned it from some chili cook-off years ago. I watched on the Food Network. So I don't know whose recipe it was, but that was the winner, the cocoa. So I used it ever since, and it is really good. Okay, so now I'm actually going to add about a 1/2 cup of water in here because it's really thick already, but I want to make sure my onions and tomatoes get nice and soft. So I have a measuring cup right here. Yes, of course I can when I'm finished, or when I'm relaxing and have some time, I'll absolutely post it for you. No problem. And like I said, this one's really easy. You got the 3 cans and some spices and onion. I'm going to add a little water here, not much, just because I'm going to actually let mine simmer for 2 to 3 hours. So, all right, that's great. I'm going to put a lid on it so it boils for a little while, and then I'll let the lid off. And it's just kind of leave and go. And I'm going to clean up a little bit here while you guys hang out, hopefully. And then we'll get shaping our buns. So we'll save that to use. Rinse all those out for the recycle. Let's get all these spices out of the way. Alright, I know I got lots. You have to, especially when you're plant-based or vegan. You need to spice things up a bit. Enhance the flavors. Alright, that's good enough, I think, guys. That's good enough. And you see, I didn't really scrub my counter because we were going to be making dough on it again. I just spilled water everywhere. Speaking of, let's take a sip of water. It's warm in here. And get back to our buns. Oh, look, I spilled some stuff on the counter. All right. Okay, so my yeast I left out. I need to make sure we keep this in a dry, cool area. I keep mine right underneath the bottom and back of the counter here. Stays nice and cool. All right, so this has already risen up a little bit. So we're going to shape out our buns. And then I'm going to leave them for 20 minutes and pop them in the oven. And that will be it. So let's wrap up those cookies too. So just need a little flour here, not much. Just going to push down my dough a bit. All right. So I'm just going to roll this out. See how far I can get you. Roll this out a little bit of a log. cut them. Probably about an inch, inch and a bit, inch and a quarter. So these will probably bake for about between 15 and 25 minutes. Like I said earlier, about 375. It's not bad. There we got 2, 4, 6, 8. We got 8 of them. Our tray over here. Alright, so I'm going to take just a little bit more flour here. Alright, I'm just going to make these into some buns. So I'm just going to fold them in the middle. I'm actually going to just keep folding them in. That way we get a nice smooth top. Around, make sure it's nice and round, flatten it a little bit, and that's it. We do the same thing with all 8. This way when you're pulling it in like this, pulls it nice and tight without ripping it. Of course, just keep doing it. So what are you guys having for supper out there? I know there's some of you watching. I'd love to know what you're making. If anyone's tried the recipes that we already did this week, or if you plan to, that would be awesome. So we're going to continue. We're going to continue in the kitchen because it is winter, so I spend a lot of time in here, guys. Not much to do in the garden. So we're holding off on that. Mind you, I'm going to do some more microgreens, and I'm experimenting with some onion right now. But we're going to stick in the kitchen next week, and I'm not sure how many times I'll come on, but we need to do some soups and stews for our pantry. We don't have any, so we're going to make some, and I'm probably going to do a meat one and a vegetarian or vegan one for sure too. So I'll let you guys know when exactly I'm going to come on and do that. It might not be the usual Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday because there's a little bit of prep that goes into the canning. But nonetheless, I want to get some canning, pressure canning done. And I know we just briefly touched base on it in the summertime, and I did tell you guys we were going to come back on that. So we are going to come back, and I wanted to show you how to do it with meat because these guys are going to want some stew of some kind. And I know some of you are going to be anxious to can up meat or stews or even broths and stocks, which is something actually might be another recipe I might work on. Some stock. And yeah, so that's going to be the skill of the week. Pressure canning to fill up your pantry. I don't know what we'll call it. We'll come up with a clever name. Alright, so I only got a couple more buns here. I'm running out of flour. Running out of flour. So yeah, I'll post the recipe for both the buns and the chili after. So I'm trying to keep track of everything that I'm making because it's probably going to go into a future book. Somebody has suggested it. A few somebodies have suggested it. So that's one of the things I'm working on. So we'll see how that goes. Little time, lots of projects. How about you guys? What are you guys working on out there? Just your regular old jobs? Got any things on the go? Any crafts? Any hobbies? My winter craft is going to be stripping and repainting my wardrobe because we're going to paint our bedroom. So I'll share that with you guys when I start. Probably after Christmas. We'll see. Alright, so we got 8 little buns here. So I'm going to give them probably about 20 minutes to give them a nice rise. I did shorten their first rise. And then I will bake them. There. So, that's it. My chili just needs to cook for a few hours. These just need to rise. And I just put them back on the pan a little better. There we go. And then get in the oven. So I gotta get my oven back up. I lost my heat. And that's it, guys. It's really easy, cheap, healthy pantry meals. and this will serve for tonight and probably a little bit of lunch for tomorrow. And like I said, you could double up the recipes. You could even add just an extra can of one item, and it'll go to a second meal. Generally, I make two. I add in usually 2 cans of beans, sometimes 2 tomatoes, and then we get chili for chili fries the next night, or chili cheese fries, whatever you like. So this week, guys, cheap, healthy pantry meals. I showed you 3 things that I cook regularly that we love, that are full of nutrition, protein, fats, vitamins, minerals, and they're really cheap and reasonable. And as you see, most of them are really easy and fast to make. So although the chili is going to take 3 hours to cook, it really took me like less than 10 minutes to prep and get ready. Same with the buns. It's just a few minutes of prep work, a couple things here and there in between, and that's it. So really easy, guys. And I think starting January, in fact, I would really like some feedback on this. I'm going to do a poll on it. I was thinking starting in January that every Monday we would do some Meatless Monday recipe cooking. Not here in the group, though. I think I'm going to do it on Twitch. So if any of you guys would be interested in joining me for that every Monday, I think that's something that I'm going to start on to the side of the group here, because I have more than just you guys. And I think maybe even friends and family would enjoy that Meatless Monday cooking with Megan. There we go. Look at that. There we go. So I think January I'm going to start that, but I would like your guys' feedback if any of you would be interested in watching or doing anything like that. Let me know. I'd really like to know. So that's it. I'll take pictures when everything's done, cooked, and when it's being served, and I got a whole bunch of cleaning and stuff to put away. So you guys have a great thank you. It is simple. It is simple. 3 cans, a fried onion, and some spices. Bada bing, bada boom. Is that a thing? People say that? Really easy. And then the bread, for 5 ingredients for the bread, and then I added in the herbs. So I'll write those down, or I'll get those out to you in the next couple hours. Thank you for your time hanging out, and I'm gonna clean myself up in the kitchen. So we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good Saturday, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Oh yeah, let's get eating. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed cooking with me for this week's skill. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video.